Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind Orlando. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week, my friends and I talk to people from across the country about things you could do in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
I guess what was so interesting was that Stephen King wrote this book in 1969, and we're making this movie in 2024 when we shot it, but 2025 when it comes out, and like how still relevant it is.
It's been an absolute dream come true. It's I think you always hope that you're bringing the character, like you're doing justice in a way, and so it's just been really lovely.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind Orlando. Stephen King fans, this one is for you. His very first novel, The Long Walk, is finally on the big screen. From Francis Lawrence, the director behind The Hunger Games, comes a chilling thriller that asks the haunting question, how far would you go? One of the emotional anchors of this film is Judy Greer, playing Miss Garrity, the devoted mother of Ray, the story's central character. Judy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, this story has been a favorite of King fans for decades. What stood out to you about The Long Walk when you first read the script?
I was really scared of having to see these boys lose their lives. It stood out to me how, I guess what was so interesting was that Stephen King wrote this book in 1969, and we're making this movie in 2024 when we shot it, but 2025 when it comes out, and like how still relevant it is, and how you can tell a story about universal themes and that it works no matter what year it comes out. It's always a story about connection, about, I mean, to me, like I see a lot of positive in this story. I see the beautiful relationships that are built, the grace that these men offer each other, and the love and connection.
Your character, Miss Garrity, she brings so much heart to this intense survival tale. How did you approach balancing her love for her son with the fear of letting him go?
Ugh. Well,
That much, I can see.
I felt, how did I balance my love for him with letting him go? You know, I have a stepson who's 25, and as much as I want to control his life and I want him to do everything that I think he should do because I know that I'm right all the time about everything, we can't control our kids. We have to let them go. We have to give them agency. I mean, I think that's a really literal answer. I think in the world of this story, you know, she doesn't have a choice. And I think these boys don't have a choice. It's voluntary, but you have to sign up for the long walk. So there's really nothing that can be done. But I balance like trusting that I suppose what's meant to happen will happen. But I also feel like Ginny, that's my character's name, she doesn't really balance it. Like she understands the depth and the gravity of what is going on in a way that she knows her son doesn't yet.
And The Long Walk, it doesn't just thrill, it kind of leaves audiences with the big question about sacrifice, hope, and survival. What do you hope moviegoers Okay, what do you think moviegoers carry with them when they kind of leave the theater?
I love the theater. After I saw it, the first time, I've seen it twice, I was sobbing and screaming at the screen. Thankfully, I was the only one watching it in the screening room, screaming, why? But I left feeling so much love and so much hope in my heart. I guess that's what I think, what I hope audiences will feel as it starts to really stick to your bones. You realize it's a story about love and connection and hope. And Peter McVree's the character played by David Johnson says, choose love. And it is like gutting when he says it to me.
All right. I'm kind of heartbroken right now.
I love this movie. I really do. I mean, I think it's so beautiful when you really like take away the horror of what we watch. We think like all we have is our connection to other people. All we have is our love for other people. I mean, and this movie is like kind of a little microcosm of life. Like we start walking and then at some point it ends. All that's there is really like trying to connect to people that you don't know and loving strangers maybe.
All right. And everything in between, like trying to connect on the way. All right.
Yeah.
The Long Walk is in theaters now. For showtimes, head to longwalk.movie and check your local listings to experience this powerful adaptation of Stephen King's first novel on the big screen. Judy, I love you to death. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Here's a number that might surprise you. About every 3 hours, someone in this country is involved in a train collision. September 15th through the 21st is C-Tracks Think Train Week, a time to raise awareness about being safe around railroads. To walk us through what we all need to know, we're joined by John Phillips, Chief Safety Officer at Norfolk Southern. John, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on this morning.
What's the key message you want viewers to understand during C-Tracks Think Train Week?
So this week is all about heightening awareness and really recommitting our personal respect for safety around railroad tracks. The number one cause of accidents and incidents is complacency. We've all driven across railroad tracks before. We maybe have used the railroad tracks as a place to walk. It is such a dangerous thing. And this week is all about kind of recommitting to that respect for safety around tracks.
A lot of people will underestimate trains. What are some things they may not realize about their speed or stopping distance?
So first, it takes trains a really long time to get stopped. Average train operating 55 miles an hour can take over a mile. So if you find yourself in the wrong position, whether you're in a vehicle or you're on foot, if you see that headlight, odds are that train is not going to be able to stop before it gets to where you're at. So never putting yourself in a compromising position, never trying to beat a train, going around down crossing gates, never using railroad tracks as a way, for example, to get over a body of water on a railroad bridge or over a road on a railroad bridge. You always have to have an out. Never being in a compromising position is the best defense.
And how is Norfolk Southern working to reduce rail-related incidents?
So we use this week, really, it's all the big railroads across the United States partnering with Operation Lifesaver to draw attention to some of these tips, some of these things that you can maybe take to your dinner table, take into a classroom to help educate others. You may be the difference between a close call and a tragedy, talking about things like walking on railroad property. Little known fact, railroad property is private property. It is never a place to use as a walking path. And if you find yourself generally, kind of the rule of thumb is within 50 feet of any tracks, odds are you're trespassing illegally. And again, it's a lot more dangerous if you find yourself on the tracks. Never use it as a walking path.
If someone notices a hazard or an emergency on the tracks, what should they do immediately?
Yeah, that's a great question. So every single crossing in America is equipped with what's called an ENS sign. It's emergency notification sign. It is a little blue rectangle that has two really important pieces of information. The first is a phone number. It is going to get you straight to that railroad's dispatch center, in touch with someone who could take action quickly. The other important piece of information is a unique identifier for that specific crossing. So if you provide that dispatcher with the DOT number that's on that blue sign, they'll be able to take action as quickly as anybody could and potentially get trains stopped before something happens.
With kids back in school and near crossings, where can families find good safety information to share?
A couple great places for some resources. First is our website, norfolksouthern.com/rail safety. You can also check out Operation Lifesaver's website, oli.org, for a ton of great resources.
John, thanks so much for joining us today and keeping us all safe.
Thanks for having me on.
Have you ever stopped to think about how much of your everyday life depends on nature? It's not just the outdoors, it's in the water we drink, the homes we live in, and even the energy we use. The World Wildlife Fund is showing us how connected we all are and why protecting nature matters more than ever. So joining us today is Terry Macko, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications at WWF. Welcome to the show, Terry. How are you?
I'm great, Dan. Thanks so much for having me here to talk about nature.
All right, for those of us that don't know, what exactly is the World Wildlife Fund?
Sure. The World Wildlife Fund is the world's largest conservation organization. We operate in nearly 100 different countries, and we've been around for 60 plus years. Many people know us for our work on protecting endangered species, or our panda logo. But we learned a long time ago that in order to protect endangered species, we needed to focus on their habitat and even the larger environment that surrounds them. So whether that's forests or the oceans, or freshwater rivers and streams, you need to protect it all so that life can thrive. And it's not just about animals, it's us too.
Can you give us a few examples of how we actually rely on nature in ways that we may not even realize?
Sure. Well, you called out the connections between food and water and the air we breathe. And Americans understand that. And it's also really important for people's mental and physical well-being. But surprisingly, there are connections that we don't always make. For example, 50% of the oxygen we breathe actually comes from life in the ocean. Not only is that life in the ocean important for our oxygen, but it's also the main protein source for 3 billion people around the world. When it comes to medications, 63% of the medicines that we take come from nature. And even something as unnatural seeming as concrete that you find in the sidewalk or in the building you're in, the sand used to produce that concrete comes from riverbeds or our beaches.
What are some simple steps families could take to help conserve resources at home?
Sure. There's so much that any individual can do. One thing, for example, food waste is a significant problem. We waste 40% of the food that we produce. So you can be more mindful about the choices you make of the food that you buy, whether that's at the grocery store or the farmer's market, and what you bring into your house and what you put on your plate. Stop wasting food. That's one of the first things you can do. Another thing is to really consider your use of plastic. We know that about a dump truck of plastic is entering our oceans each and every minute of the day. So the less plastic we use, the less plastic is ending up in our oceans. And one other simple trick is wash your clothes in cold water. Cold water is just as effective as hot water, and it uses 1/10 of the electricity. So, not only are you helping the environment, but you're helping save on your bills too.
It's also better on your fibers. You also just ran the GlobeScan survey. What results stood out to you the most?
Yeah, there were so many interesting things in the survey. What stood out was how much Americans appreciate nature and how united we are about it. So the vast majority of people really appreciate being out in nature and all the benefits that provides. But a surprising fact was that 3 out of 4 Americans really value nature as an important part of our cultural identity. So whether that conjures up images of the bald eagle or our national parks or even the woods that surround your home, these are intrinsic American values. We all appreciate what nature provides. But what we did find was that 84% of Americans are concerned around the threats to nature, with 6 out of 10 telling us that they were very or extremely concerned. They know that nature is important and that we rely on it, but it is under threat.
So how do our family experiences and traditions shape the way we see nature?
Yeah, we find that what happens is that the way people view nature starts at a very early age. Kids are more influenced by their own experiences in nature, whether that's walking alongside a creek or walking in the woods or going on a hike with your family. That's where early impressions are formed, not from messages by organizations like us. So it's really important to talk about nature with your kids, get them out in nature, or when you're sitting around the dinner table, talk about the food that you're eating and the connection to nature that it has.
Terry, I want to thank you for joining me this morning. Where can our viewers go if they want to learn more or maybe even get involved?
Sure. Go to wwf.org and you'll be able to dive deeper into our nature survey or find out more of what you can do, or follow us across all social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. You'll find us there.
Terry, I want to thank you for joining me this morning.
Great. Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Do you ever wonder what happens when love, family, and small town drama all collide? That's the heart of My Life with the Walter Boys. After a whirlwind first season, the story is back with even more twists, tension, and second chances. Joining us are Nikki Rodriguez, Noah Lalonde, and Ashby Gentry, better known as Jackie, Cole, and Alex, to talk about season 2 and now streaming on Netflix. Welcome to the show, you three. How are you?
Thank you.
Doing
So
well.
good.
Thank you.
All right. Nikki, your character Jackie went through a lot this season. How does she approach coming back to Silver Falls after spending the summer in New York?
Yeah, I think, when she comes back to Silver Falls this time, I think she's ready to kind of face things head on a little bit. And I think she just wants to be like the perfect version of herself to kind of just make up for her past in a way. So I think that's her overall goal this season.
And Noah, Cole is stepping into a new role at school this season. What's it like to explore that side of him, and how does it affect his relationships?
Yeah, I think it was fascinating to step into that new side of him, because I think it's a version of himself that's taking ownership over his life after throughout season 1 there was a lot of directing blame on other people and kind of self-sabotaging. So I think, taking ownership of your path and allowing, that growth to happen and start to prepare to be who you want to be for other people in your life, your family, the people who you want to show up for. So that was it was a cool turn to take.
Ashby, and your character, Alex, seemed to have changed a lot since we last saw him. How did you prepare to show that growth, especially with his focus on rodeo training?
Well, I listened to a lot of cowboy podcasts and watched a lot of YouTube videos and walked through the park a lot. And the rest of it, you'll have to see on screen. Yeah.
The show is based on a beloved book, and it's taken a life of its own. What's been like interacting with fans and hearing from them and seeing how connected they are to your characters and the story?
I mean, it's been an absolute dream come true. I think you always hope that you're bringing the character, like you're doing justice in a way, and so it's just been really lovely, the response.
And is there anything that you are expecting or would hope that your audience will take from season 2?
Yeah, of course. I think I hope that they would take it. I hope that they would to take away some of the lessons that are to be yourself, to love hard and love your family, and just know that if tomorrow doesn't work out, the next day is always there.
All right, I want to thank you three for joining me this morning. Season 2 of My Life with the Walter Boys is streaming now on Netflix. Make sure you watch and catch all of the drama that's been unfolding in Silver Falls. Thank you three for joining me.
Thank you. Have a good one.
What if instead of dying, you could be uploaded into a digital afterlife, complete with luxury, tech, and maybe a few glitches? Well, that's the wild setup of Upload, the sci-fi comedy from Greg Daniels, creator of The Office and Parks and Rec. The show imagines a future with holographic phones, AI assistants, and even 3D food printers, where the afterlife is just another subscription plan. The 4-part finale is now streaming on Prime Video, and joining us is comedian and actress Zainab Johnson, who plays Alicia. Welcome to the show, Zainab. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, the finale is here. What can fans expect from these last 4 episodes without giving away too many of the spoilers?
The fans can definitely expect closure. They can expect us taking everything that they've seen throughout the series, seasons 1 through 3. They can expect that to be heightened, but also definitely closure. So really big comedic moments, really big fun moments, stunts, of course, introducing new technology, solve it kind of like solving a mystery, but also in terms of like the will they, won't they, the love story between the trouble of Nathan, Ingrid, and Nora. I think the fans will appreciate a bit of closure in that department.
And Alicia's been through so much in Lakeview. How did you want to see her story land in this kind of finale?
I really enjoy seeing Alicia succeed. I feel like that was important to me. And I think that was important to show because Alicia, in a very different way, is like a morality character, like she often battles with like doing the right thing for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, et cetera, et cetera. By this last season, her not only like, getting a lot of promotions, but also sort of being a double agent in a sense and really sort of working within the system to sort of change it and fix it or protect the people from it. I think that was a wonderful way for me to sort of show how much she has grown.
And Greg Daniels, I'm a huge fan. He balances humor and heart really, really well. What moments while shooting these episodes really captured that for you?
The humor and the heart. In this 4th season, I mean, there's so many moments, but like in this 4th season, there's a scene where the AI guy is just, he's kind of like distraught because his AI girlfriend, has broken up with him. And it's such a silly scene. But but Alicia goes in, and not only Alicia and Luke, they go in and they comfort him through what is like a really, really silly, like in the essence of it, it's silly, but also the way it's filmed. It's like he's laying on the floor in an elevator and it's just like hitting his head, like the physical comedy of it all. But for us to not really focus on that and to really just focus on like, oh, okay, well, he's having this human experience and he's feeling pain and sadness, and we have to help him through this. I feel like that's a really good example and one of my favorite moments this season of like balancing this like, like really, really huge humor moments, but also like the heart of the show.
And you're also not just Alicia, you're also a stand-up comedian and a host. How does your comedy background shape the way you approach a character on screen?
I mean, I'm always like trying to look for the funny, like I'm always like, like it's fun to be funny, although in the scene as the character, it's not really funny to you. You're playing it genuine. And that happens for me a lot on stage too. When I'm doing my stand-up, while the audience is like laughing really hard, I am typically like playing the jokes that I'm saying very straight, or really living through the experience, which could have been like sort of like, I don't know, dramatic for me, but I'm allowing the audience to sort of laugh at it. And I feel like that has really helped me in terms of like, acting, not just on Upload, but, any other work as well.
Zainab Johnson, thanks for joining us this morning. You can stream the complete 4-part finale of Upload right now on Prime Video. Share your favorite moments with #UploadTV and follow @Upload on Prime for more. Zainab, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Apple TV Plus's epic sci-fi drama Invasion is back for season 3, and things are getting more intense than ever. The aliens are evolving, the stakes are higher, and for the first time, all of the main characters are coming together to face the threat head on. So joining us this morning is Erika Alexander, who steps into the series as Verna, a brand new character shaking things up in the latest season. Welcome, Erika. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I've been excited. We've been talking about this series for a little bit. For fans who have been like following the series, season 3 raises the bar a bit. What makes the season stand out compared to the first 2?
Well, the first 2, they were fighting the aliens and they defeated them, and there's been 2 years of peace. So they spent 2 seasons fighting really hard, but we're going to find out in the 3rd season that all is not well on the home front, and they are all together now. That's what's different. They were fighting from different points in the planet, whether it was Shioli in Japan and Gaul, wherever she went. They were, oh, by the way, this show is an international show because they were filming in South Africa and New York and all of these places. It was a big I guess, lift, and they've been doing it well. And so it was the first time many of them were meeting in real life. So I was glad to join the cast just at that moment. And your character, Verna, is new to the story. Can you tell us about her and the role she plays in this global fight against the invasion? Sure. Verna, Marilyn was her name before the invasion. Verna is who she becomes. Was a people pleaser. And she was a person who was in support of her sister and her nephew and her boss and all of these people. But what she finds out on the other side, dealing with her deep grief, is that she becomes something else. And she uses those skills, those organizational skills, and to become a leader. And not necessarily from the greatest place, but she is very human in that journey. And one of the big shifts this season is that the characters' perspectives, they all finally collide and start, they're forced to work together. How does that change the tone or the energy of the series? I think it's always really wonderful for people who have been fans and watched the show, for people to start that they've admired, to see how they're going to work against or for with other people that they've never met. And, we imagine that the actors are not necessarily the characters, but I think there's a certain kind of buzz you get when you put 2 things together, like peanut butter and chocolate. So I think that that's really fun. And there's a lot of really great special effects and collaboration with the productions designer and all of these things happening that, you know, there's certain characters who can speak telepathy and all of those things. So there's a great design in the way Simon Kinberg built out a huge world. And for the characters to finally meet and work within that world is what this third season is about, along with these apex predator aliens who are coming at us hardcore, and they are scary creatures, but they're also fighting these very human battles.
And yeah, you're right. The show has been praised for its incredible visuals and suspenseful storytelling. What was it like for you stepping into this world and filming these big cinematic moments?
It was a lot. I'm not gonna lie. You need to use your imagination in order to play these characters, because a lot of times you're staring at nothing. I mean, nothing. Look over there, scream, clap, you know, and you just have to go with it. And you know, if there's people who are professionals who know what they're doing, you stay in the moment and you authentically try to deliver something that's spontaneous and brand new and feels fresh, even though you're doing it over and over again. And you've got a lot of amazing background players who are inside of it, and everyone's just working to collaborate to make this world. I think humans are amazing, that we spend a lot of our time just telling stories, and we are desperate for people to understand who we are. I think that is a message in a bottle to whoever shows up, whether we're here or not to see them. We'll see, but I do believe that that's our love letter to the galaxy, is our stories.
Erika Alexander, I want to thank you for joining me this morning. You could stream season 3 of Invasion right now on Apple TV Plus, with new episodes dropping every Friday through October 24th, so don't miss it. Erika, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, and appreciate the opportunity to be with you.
And that's it for Rise Unwind Orlando. Want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. If you actually want to be on the show, go to our website, riseunwindtv.com. Follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And also follow our YouTube channel. That's at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was Rise and Unwind.